What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we want to take a look at the top 5 tools I use to teach kids programming. So programming is one of those things that we struggle a lot with when it comes to teaching our kids programming. I've been searching all around on the internet, even on the YouTube, to try to find videos about some of the top tools people use to teach their kids programming. So I thought, you know what, that's not there, so I might as well build something and share with you. So tool number 1 that I use is a site called code.org. It contains a lot of nice videos, a lot of inspiring videos from some of the top programmers and some of the top people in IT in this world. A tool in particular that I like from that website is a game called Lightbot. So I'll show you that here. And Lightbot is essentially you getting the child to play a game, moving around a robot, giving the robot instructions so they're able to start constructing loops. They're able to give basic commands such as move, jump, and light up the light bulb, right? So it is something that it is nice for you to get the child into early, so that they can start developing that problem solving skills that they have. If you look at the website, there's a lot of other stuff on the site that can assist you, a lot of games, a lot of what I call unplugged activities for computing. And so for people in the villages or where you're not too where the computer lab is not too accessible, you can then also print out some of the online activities there and give them. Right? So you can look at start looking at algorithm, start looking at sorting algorithm from the site, right? Start looking at some of the paper drawn algorithm from the site also. So code.org is one of those sites I do recommend to start your kid off with programming. The idea is that you want to have them start playing games and learning programming without them knowing that they're learning programming, right? Site number 2. This one I stumbled upon about 2 years ago. It is from the MIT group, so it's the Scratch programming, and you'll have seen a couple of those on my website. I've been doing tutorials and I'll continue to update and do tutorials on those. What Scratch does is that it offers a child the opportunity to actually build animations, build games, and also get an opportunity to experiment with the programming language itself. While Scratch might not be a true programming language in that sense, it does gives you the opportunity to indulge yourself in programming concepts, and so the child gets to play around with variables. They get to animate stuff. They get to get commands to do stuff, right? So Scratch programming, again, I found the kids are very excited when they're using Scratch programming. I found that this year in particular, the response was well, and it was something that I wish that I had found a little bit earlier, but you know, gems are few. So I'm showing you this now so that you can use it to introduce your child to it at home. Number 3 was a website I stumbled upon again. It's OneOnOneComputing.net. So OneOnOneComputing.net, it has a variety of tools, or an array of tools when it comes to teaching programming and also general computer concepts. And so if you're teaching computer science, this is a great site to get your child started in terms of reading up on networking, reading up on computer science itself. And when I use it in particular when it comes to programming is to teach them how to use trace tables and also the creation of flowcharts, right? So if you want to trace through programs, and of course this might be for a little bit more advanced users, but if you want to trace through programs or create a flowchart for a particular problem that you're solving, then OneOnOne Computing does offers that. I must say that none of these tools that I'm sharing here are sponsors, right? Number 4 is a site called Codecademy. I jumped on Codecademy a couple of years back. I think it was in 2014 I started Codecademy. What Codecademy does is that it has a whole array of programming languages that you can learn, right? And it's a very interactive website. And so when I used it, I started off doing Python because I wanted to learn Python for the Raspberry Pi computer, and so I jumped into Python too. What I'm noticing now is that the site is charging for everything, right? So gone are the days where some of it used to be free, but a workaround that I found for the Python in particular, because I want to teach Python because I want my kids to be able to learn to program the Raspberry Pi using Python, is that I would go to the section that says Python 2, and of course Python 2 is still free, and so it offers you a whole lesson or a whole schema talking about how you work with Python 2. Now there's not much difference between Python 2 and Python 3, and those senior programmers might disagree, right? The syntax is generally the same, and of course the aim for me at the end of the day is that I want to just introduce the child to programming, right? And have them have it so that they are able to work by themselves, either at home or at school. So they can log in, they can set goals, and I tell them that if they reach as far as maybe 40% throughout the entire lesson, that's okay, right? And if you can complete the 100%, then that's good. It does give you that experience in terms of programming. It is self-guided, and of course it has some great challenges and quizzes on the way. Number 5, and this might not be in regards to programming, but one of the good tools, one of the greatest tools that I've used is an open source software called Moodle. And Moodle is used by my school now for the sharing of documents for my IT students. We're able to do online quizzes, online tests. I'm able to set assignments for them. They're able to interact and share resources, right? Or even just share information. It gave me a chance to set up some forums so my students can communicate. And of course, all this again, it means that I'm extending the classroom now from what we knew as the traditional classroom where our child would just sit in a place or in a building. It gives them the opportunity now to go on their devices that they have, and most kids now have their own devices, and work from home. So this has helped me a lot over the years. I started the Moodle program about 3 years ago, and I have been growing with it, extending it to the different form levels at my high school. Some takeaways, some other stuff that I use is that if we're working with other programming languages, like for example we were doing Pascal programming, which is I guess mandated by CXC, but the syllabus has changed. So now the suggestion is that you can use whatever programming language you want. And so you'll find that most people now will jump into other programming language like C++ or Python or maybe Java, right? Whichever one you choose, I found out that most of them now have an online compiler. And so there's this one site that I'll show you here that works as an online compiler for most programming language. All you gotta do is click up top, choose the language you want, and guide the child through writing syntax for the particular language. Like this, then there's no need to install a compiler on your computer just to show the working code, right? But again, I'm hoping that all the tools that I mentioned above helps you, gives you a chance to view this thing from a different angle, where we want to teach IT, we want to teach programming to our kids, but we want to move away from having that traditional teaching method and now have them become self-learners, right? Or self-investigators, right? So we want that our kids are able to jump and find all of these tools on the internet, right, and make use of it and do something fruitful on the internet. So if you're watching this, hope you like all these tools. I hope you take something away from it. And of course, if you have young kids at home and you want them to learn programming, these are great starting points for you. So with that, I'm signing out. Peace.